Diddy's time behind bars is off to a terrifying start, and his legal team says things could get even worse if something isn't done fast. His lawyer, Mark Garagos, is sounding the alarm about what's really happening behind those prison walls. Days after reports came out that someone tried to shank Diddy, Gyros revealed that the Bad Boy Records founder is in real danger. Not just because of who he is, but because of how famous he is. When Gyros appeared on the DA Two Angry Men podcast, he was asked if he's worried that Diddy could be attacked or harmed in prison. His answer was instant: yes. He even confirmed that they already tried to shank him once.
Diddy is going to spend definitely 2+ years in a federal prison. I just want to lay this out right now. He is a target because they talked about this in court. They said somebody tried to shank him already, and that he is a big target. Are you concerned that Sean Diddy Combs could be sexually assaulted, violently assaulted? Is that a thing? Because based on what was said in court, it feels like a thing.
Yeah, it clearly is a thing. I mean, they're already, and he did not want to make a big deal of it. They already tried to shank him once at the MDC, and that was thwarted. And it happens in prison. I mean, you and I could tick off how many times we are aware of somebody getting seriously injured or killed in prison. And so they're going to have to keep him somewhere that they can keep an eye on him. It would have obviously been better if he had gotten less time and had been at a camp, but he's going to be in a facility where somebody's going to have to, from the BOP, and I think they're well equipped to do it if they can, to keep an eye on him because he is a target.
So what does he do? Do they put him in solitary? Is he with the general population? How is this going to work for 2 years?
Well, the first thing they do is they've got to designate him. That's what it's called.
Right.
They're going to take a look at what the judge said. They're going to see the order on the docket. They're going to take the months. They're going to take the offense characteristics. They're going to take some of the other findings that Judge Sabrahamian made, and they're going to designate him to a location. He's going to be in the MDC for a period of time before he's transferred. When he's transferred, then they're going to take all of that into account, and then he will be switched from the jail system to the prison system.
He also went on to talk about how Diddy would likely find it hard to adjust to the prison system unless things change for him.
Is he out of the woods when it comes to being sexually or in any way assaulted by being in a minimum security prison?
When you say out of the woods, it's a prison. Anywhere you go is a prison. You always have to watch your back, literally. And if that's the case, you're never really out of the woods until you're released, or you go to a halfway house, or you get into one of the programs. But if you are in a camp or in a low-level designation, your odds go down dramatically. I mean, you and I, there's no, I just saw a buddy of mine didn't wake up, who's substantially younger than you and me over last weekend. So there's no guarantees you're going to wake up in the morning. So there's never any guarantee. But if he gets designated at what they call a satellite camp or one of the low security institutions, it's a lot safer for him.
So he is used to calling the shots. And, I don't know how much you can talk about this because, he's your client. But I know that people who call the shots when suddenly others are calling them for you and you are suddenly a number rather than a king, that it's hard. Do you have any concerns that he's going to have a really rough time following the straight and narrow while he's in prison?
Well, I've seen it personally. I think he has changed dramatically while in the jail, which is not a prison. I'll make that distinction. Pre-conviction, post-conviction. Pre-conviction jail, post-conviction prison. So he has changed dramatically. However, there's always that tendency. It's in the personality. I mean, you're 55 years old like Sean, you're 60 some odd like me, 70 some odd like you. It's very hard to change old habits. And the judge kind of said that in as much today in a different context, but it holds true everywhere. You're going to have to fight against that urge.
Ever since his arrest last year, Diddy's been locked up at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, one of the roughest spots in the system. But that might soon change, as the judge is expected to make a recommendation on where Diddy will serve the rest of his sentence. During a court hearing last Friday, another one of Diddy's lawyers, Brian Steele, dropped a shocking revelation. The guard stopped a person who was armed with a shank who was on top of Sean and about to cut him. Steele said Diddy isn't like the other inmates. His fame makes him a trophy target. Because of that, Diddy reportedly hasn't been able to sleep for more than 2 hours at a time. He cannot go back there, Steele warned, saying Diddy lives in constant fear. Diddy was sentenced to 50 months in prison after being found guilty on 2 prostitution-related charges. Prosecutors had pushed for 11 years, but his lawyers argued for just 14 months, which could have gotten him out almost immediately since he's already served over a year behind bars. Many people who have historically blown the whistle on his crimes have since celebrated him being sent to prison, even if it isn't the outcome they fully wanted. Jaguar Wright, in particular, believes there is a lot more Diddy has to answer for.
In the other races, did they even know of the stories you were telling? And what feedback were they saying about your...
You want to know what's funny? Everyone that was not my color believed me. It was my people that needed convincing. My people needed to literally see video footage of Diddy being himself before they were even willing to admit that maybe I was right. But after today, you know.
Psychologically, what do you think that is? Like, you're going after our heroes and people don't want to believe that our heroes could be...
If someone like the diddler is your hero, then you should hurry up and go to hell with him. If someone like Jay-Z is your hero, then, you know, just be glad you're not talented so he could sacrifice you like he tried to do me, and he succeeded with Aaliyah. Like, if these are your heroes, why don't you, you know, keep saying free R. Kelly? Like, if these are your heroes. See, this is the problem that I have.
Still, legal expert Jeffrey Ullman called the sentence a really serious punishment, especially considering Diddy has spent 13 months in one of the worst prisons in America. Today's dog and pony show, while interesting and funny at times, didn't move the judge at all. Lickman said he surely had in his mind before he came onto the bench today that he was giving Combs 50 months. He added, as bad as Combs' behavior was, it never was clear what federal laws he violated, if any, and 50 months in jail, a lot of it in one of the worst prisons in America, is a really serious punishment. Still, Ullman believes Diddy might not be behind bars for the full term. My guess is he'll be out in about 18 months, 2 years tops, he said. But for now, Diddy's situation looks grim. Gene Deal actually had a very dire warning for him, now that it looks like Diddy will end up in prison after all.
I just got, if I could say one thing to him, in all honesty, don't drop the soap.
When Diddy does get out, what direction you think he should go in?
My personal opinion, when he get out, and if he wants to do anything that is going to give him any kind of recognition or any sense of changing, he should do whatever he learned in those rehabilitation classes with reentry, with drug treatment, with domestic violence, open up some nonprofit agencies that people can get help from, or he can use his platform for doing the right thing by people that has been wrong, whether it's in domestic violence or in drug treatment. I think he should go in that route.
What you think about Diddy complaining about the living conditions in prison?
It's prison. He's not the only one in those conditions. You got to realize there's other inmates in that dormitory that has the same and they don't have the commissary that he has. You got to realize they have a commissary and he's going to get the best out of the commissary because he's able to use all the money he got to get whatever in the commissary. And then the people around him, he can put money in their commissary, have people money in their commissary so they can get double of what they got. You understand what I'm saying?
Gene also believed that Diddy was likely to get a big culture shock when he actually ended up in a cell. In particular, bringing up how desperate he had been to avoid jail time, often becoming hopeless to the point of taking his own life.
Diddy should try to get a pardon from Trump.
I think that he's going to use every method, whether it's appeals, whether it's Trump. He's going to use every method he can to get out of jail earlier than what he can. He's going to use all his resources to do whatever he has to do. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what he's supposed to do. Don't you think so? He's supposed to use all his resources he can to get out of jail.
You think Trump would do it?
I don't know. Trump is a very vindictive person. And like he said, he didn't say, I used to like the guy, but he didn't say a lot of nice things to me, about me. So if it would come by, if it come by his desk and if something is monetary to Trump and it's his last year, but Diddy should be out before Trump last year. He only gonna do 2 years, bruh. He go 2 years, he go to a halfway house. That's it.
You think Diddy is strong enough to do 2 years?
I just told you, bruh. Kirk Burrows, Lil' Kim. There's a lot of other people in the music industry that done federal time.
Because you told me he was suicidal. That's why I asked.
Everybody's suicidal when they first go to prison. Everybody's suicidal. If you've never been to prison before, you've never been behind bars, everybody's suicidal. Then you get used to it. It becomes your livelihood. You learn how to stay alive. You got a crust of bread in the corner to sleep in. Everything else is a blessing. Yo, it was something that was powerful that Diddy said. He said to the judge, he said, I can't change the past, but I can change the future. As if that he knew if the judge would let him out today, that he was going to do some things that was going to be powerful, whether it's in the industry, whether it was in this new life that he said he was going to do with the drug treatment programs, with the domestic violence. See, that's the avenue that he probably used now. You know what I'm saying? Get into it, because he can't go back to the music industry because he wasn't doing nothing in the music industry anyway.
Now, while Diddy is very likely to get his comeuppance in prison thanks to the litany of crimes he's committed during his life, Gene Deal actually insinuated that it would not be recent cases that he would likely get jumped for. He believes some people have been waiting a long time in there to get revenge on Diddy for the murders of none other than Tupac and Biggie Smalls. Apparently, even Kef D's legal team plans to argue that Diddy was the reason Tupac was. According to reports, Keith D, who's facing his own trial starting in February, told investigators that Puffy put a hit on him and shook.
So you feel like Pac fans will try to do something to him?
Pac and Biggie fans. He can have issues with both of them because a lot of people think, because of the statement that Keith D made, that he did something to Pac. A lot of people know or think that because of Biggie leaving, they finding out that Biggie was leaving Bad Boy, that he may have had something to do with Biggie. People feel that way. You hear it all the time. You see it all the time on the chats and all that stuff. Have you heard the reports about Diddy being worried about his kids?
Bro, he get a phone call just like everybody else. And now they got all kinds of things where they got guys got iPads, guys got telephones, iPads, and all that in prison. So his kids are well taken care of. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't worrying about those kids before he got locked up. Not like that. Maybe with the baby but the other girls, they seem like they fine. Quincy seemed like he's doing a good job in making sure that those girls are being taken care of. And the rest of everybody else is grown. Or they young adults. So that's just a ploy, bruh. All that's a ploy to, try to change the circumstances in this situation. But they won't change. His circumstances and situation as far as the correctional facility and where he's being housed at is not going to change until the courts tell him to change it.
He raised a bigger point, too, that the whole situation was tangled up with gang tensions in Los Angeles at the time. After Tupac was shot, Gene said the streets exploded. The Bloods was laying people down, he remembered. Behind Pac getting shot, it sparked a big gang war out there. So, if prosecutors want to pull Diddy into that, Gene said they'll have to rely on circumstantial evidence, which is risky. He has, however, previously talked about how Diddy seemed to have an unhealthy obsession with Pac.
Puff was close. If they try to go that route and look at that and see if that was the route, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But me being an investigator, I would have looked into that. If Keefe D says that he was trying to get his money from Puff through Zip, and he got that money was going to sit, and they could trace it back to them, and both of those people could say that, then they got him. But that's going to be hard to prove because I don't believe that may have happened. I don't know why he had to check for $1 million. It wasn't my concern at no time. But I know he had a check for $1 million.
Now with Kef's trial around the corner and Diddy already fearing for his safety behind bars, this latest accusation adds even more pressure. Greg Kading, the same former LAPD detective who led the original task force investigating Tupac's murder, also spoke at great length about why Diddy is one of the best suspects out there. He admitted that over time his view of Diddy has shifted. Years ago, he said he tried to give Diddy the benefit of the doubt, but the more he looked back at the events of the 1990s, the more he saw red flags that didn't make sense, especially Diddy's lack of cooperation when both Tupac and Biggie were.
Everybody knew that Puff took Tupac blueprint and changed Biggs and Bad Boy in image. I get around, talked about how fly you was, how many girls you mess with, how many cars you drive, how much money you got, what you willing to do. He took his image. Pac was the first one on the scene wearing Versace shirts. He went and got the same Versace shirt Pac had. Which, all right, some dudes would do that. You would never catch me wearing something else, something that somebody else got. He was knocking down all the women that he thought Pac was knocking down. And what I mean is having sex with. Why would you want to have sex with women you know for sure a dude that was once cool with you was dealing with? That's that image. Because you got to realize, bruh, Puff and Pac was cool at one time. We know this. Mopreme said that they was going to sign the Bad Boy. So if he's going to sign to Bad Boy, it was because of Corey and them. I put that picture on the internet. I put the picture on my channel of Corey Jones, is Corey Jones, Corey Jacobs? I think Corey Jacobs, and Pac right next to each other. Those was the real bad boys of bad boy. You understand? Those are the ones who got the 16 to life sentence that Pac was gonna go and be with them first. But then Mopreme said when it became just Big and Puff, because Corey then went to jail, he changed his direction. But nobody know why Pac and Puff fell out like they did. You understand what I'm saying?
Because if Diddy really was involved, even indirectly, in what happened to Tupac, then cooperating with investigators could have exposed him in ways that might have destroyed everything. Back in 2008-2009, Kading also interviewed Kef D, the same man now indicted for Tupac's murder. During those interviews, Ka claimed that Diddy offered him $1 million to both Tupac and Suge Knight. At first, Kading thought the story was exaggerated, just street talk, maybe even paranoia. But the more he dug, the more the pieces started to fit.
Perceptions have changed slightly, gradually over time. Today, I look at Diddy through a different lens than I might have 10, 15 years ago. There were obviously some early red flags, but it's a complicated thing because we have to be very careful about falsely accusing people or even, making accusations based on nothing more than speculation. And we just haven't seen all the evidence. So I prefer to kind of withhold judgment on some things. I can tell you regarding Diddy back when Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls were murdered. He wasn't exactly cooperative. He didn't do what you would assume a friend or, a manager, so to speak, would do. So from a law enforcement perspective, he was very unhelpful in an area where he ought to have been contributing towards getting some type of justice in those two murder cases. But as we found out in time, he was complicit in one of them, and which would make sense why maybe he didn't cooperate in the other, because the two were, they were just, we always understood that they were somehow interconnected. And so if you're going to cooperate or provide information on one and you're culpable in the other, one thing could lead back to the next. And that's where I think he understood his own vulnerability.
Now, Diddy seems absolutely adamant on not going back to jail. And people can't help but speculate that it may be because he's afraid of facing retribution from Pac and Biggie fans in prison. Do you think that's a possibility? Let us know in the comments below.